Hey and welcome. I'm Hammeh, and in my ongoing exploration of everything Overwatch lore and story related, it's time to take another look at skins. Many of Overwatch's skins have rich historic and cultural references behind them that give a lot of background and talking points to the lore and stories of our favourite heroes and villains. Some are canon and directly show us things about the characters, most very much aren't. But either way, they have awesome details that I'll be explaining more in this series. In this video, I'll be taking a look at the story and history behind some of Roadhog's Overwatch skins, Islander and Toa. I'll be explaining a bit about how Roadhog skins show a potential New Zealand, Maori or wider Polynesian Islander connection to his history, and how the shared story of a demigod with a hook could fit in the life and lore of Mako Rutledge too. Firstly, to understand the Islander and Toa skins, we have to look into the legends and history of the Pacific Ocean and its islanders. Now, Toa in Maori means brave warrior. It can also mean to win, brave, bold, skilled, or perhaps a warrior or a brave man. And it was only 3,000 or so years ago that brave men first set foot on Fiji and other isolated islands of the Pacific, having sailed across thousands of kilometres of ocean. There are a number of theories about how Polynesia and the Pacific was settled, one of which was that these people were East Asians who were swept out into the Pacific. From 3000 to around 1000 BC, these seafarers could have come out of mainland China to Taiwan, then via the Philippines and eastern Indonesia, before getting to the islands of New Guinea, and then onto the western Polynesian islands at about 900 BC. Now, covering around 24,000 kilometres, that's about 15,000 miles, in about 300 or 400 years, is pretty quick going given the distances and the boats and the technology they had at the time, hence why this is called the express train theory of settlement. Now, these Polynesians' primary voyaging craft was a double-hulled canoe, connected by lashed crossbeams. These gave the craft stability in a forerunner of the modern catamaran and the capacity to carry heavy loads of migrating families, equipment, supplies, and living and working space as well. A medium-sized 50 or 60 foot long canoe could accommodate over 24 migrants, their food supplies, livestock, and planting materials. As the distances between the islands the travellers looked for to colonise became longer and longer, they developed a very sophisticated navigation system, looking at the stars, swells of the ocean, flight patterns of birds, and other natural signs to find their way across large stretches of open sea. Knowing that islands they came upon might not have food to hand, they developed a portable agriculture of sorts, taking animals and plants in their canoes for transplanting onto the islands that they found. As you can imagine, sailing the seas, sleeping under the stars, it's no surprise that space was at a bit of a premium on these voyagers' canoes. You're not going to be taking big written histories around with you. So various Polynesian cultures each have distinct but related spoken historic traditions. In an oral spoken tradition, there's no fixed version of a given tale or story. It can change within limits according to the setting, the narrator and their needs, and the situation, and also the audience. Polynesian spoken histories have a lot of common elements. These are often legends or myths, traditionally to do with the history of ancient times and the adventures of gods and deified ancestors. It's here that we come to the story of Maui. Maui is the great culture hero and trickster of Polynesian mythology. Stories of his exploits are told in nearly every Polynesian land and island culture, and in most cases he's seen as a god or as fully divine, but in some places he's regarded as merely human or able to die. A culture hero is a mythological hero specific to ethnicity, a culture, a religion or similar, who changes the world through discovery and invention. A typical hero might be credited with important things such as discovering fire or revolutionising agriculture. Maui has different interpretations and significance depending on where you look. Tales of him are told by the Maori of the Cook Islands and of course the New Zealand Maori, also Hawaiian history, Mangareva or French Polynesia, Samoa, Tahiti and Tonga. Details vary between the different cultures and traditions, but I'll quickly take you through a few of the things that Maui was known for. One Hawaiian and Maori myth involves Maui hauling up islands and land itself from the ocean. Maui would go fishing with his brothers. Although he wouldn't use it for mundane tasks, he had a special fish hook made of his dead grandmother's jawbone. Maui is said to have created the Hawaiian Islands in Hawaiian mythology by tricking his brothers, catching his hook upon the ocean floor when he's out fishing with them, and telling them to paddle as hard as they can so he can land this big fish. In the Maori version, he uses the jawbone as a fish hook and hauls a great fish up from the depths. While Maui goes to find a priest to perform ceremonies and prayers, the brothers don't wait for him to return but begin to try and cut it up. The fish, writhing in agony, causes it to break up into mountains, cliffs and valleys. And this is how the North Island of New Zealand in Maori culture is known as the fish of Maui. Another exploit is Maui restraining the sun itself, after his mother, Hina, complained in the Hawaiian version that her cloth couldn't dry because the days were too short. Maui weaves a rope from his sister's hair, climbs to the top of a mountain and lassos the sun's rays as it comes up. In a negotiation with the sun, shall we say, the Maori version says that he takes the jawbone of his ancestress and uses it as a weapon to beat the sun with. And with the help of his brothers, Maui nooses the sun until it promises to go slower in future. Finally, as with other myths and legends you can see in different cultures around the world, Maui was credited with helping to discover and find fire for humanity. He went to go and find Mahuika, the fire goddess, and learn the secret art of fire, but his tricks made her furious. Narrowly escaping with the secret of fire and his life, Mahuika set both land and sea on fire. With a quick prayer to his ancestors, Maui managed to sort out this situation, getting a pouring of rain that extinguished the fire and left mankind with the ability to light a spark. Now, in Maori legends, Maui meets a somewhat gruesome end from Hene Nui Tepo. The Great Woman of the Night is a goddess of night and death and apparently responsible for the crossing over point of humanity into the afterlife. While attempting to make mankind immortal, he meets a bit of a gruesome end. I'll let you look that one up for yourself. So, what interesting parallels are there between the story of Maui and that of our friend Roadhog? Well, I'll refer you back to the beginning of this video in terms of the story of the culture hero. Now, in many cultures, the trickster hero and the culture hero are either combined or relatives to show balance. To show a combined hero such as this, Prometheus in Greek mythology stole fire from the gods to give it to humans, as did Maui in Polynesian mythology. In many indigenous American mythologies, coyote spirits steal fire from the gods or the stars or the sun, but they can be more of a trickster. In other places, such as the Pacific Northwest indigenous stories, you can see a raven in this role, and do go and check out my Reaper Nevermore skin lore video if you're interested more in raven symbolism. So, Maui, depending on which cultural version of him you look at, is trying to broadly do good for humanity, but often there are some mishaps along the way, and certainly a lot of tricks. Now, Roadhog's character doesn't seem to be a trickster. I would say, however, that Junkrat alongside him seems to play that kind of role. If Roadhog is a cultural hero figure, then I would say it's a bit stretched as an analogy in that the two are probably not trying to do good for anyone by themselves right now. They certainly get involved in a lot of capers, so in a sense they're more anti-heroes, sticking a finger to the man somewhat. However, let's not forget that Roadhog did stand up for something that he believed in to be right for the people around him, when he helped form the Australian Liberation Front, and that did have consequences when the fusion core of the Omnium went up, turning part of the outback into an irradiated wasteland. Whether Roadhog was part of this specific decision or action or not, we don't know, but from his recent comic Wasted Land we can see his disillusion with life and the situation in Junkertown and of its people's state. It feels like Roadhog didn't want things to be this way, whether that's now or since he helped set up the ALF to attempt to take back people's land, including his own that had been taken by the Australian government and given to the Omnics after the first Omnic crisis. So, would you see Roadhog as being a figure who was a hero or tried to be a hero in a sense but then has fallen foul of his luck? Or is he the cold-blooded killer that his Overwatch website bio makes him out to be in the story? Wasted Land the comic definitely gives some nuances to his story. I don't think he's a trickster, Junkrat definitely fills that role, but it's interesting to see how he could sit into that kind of Maui-esque character. Okay, we've learnt a bit more about the shared history behind the Islander and Toa themed skins. Finally, for some fun, let's have a quick look at where you can see references to both and things we enjoy today. Well, for references to Maui, you need look no further than a recent Disney effort, where he appeared as a demigod and a primary character in the film MOANA at the end of 2016. Armed with a magical fishhook and voiced by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Maui was abandoned by his human parents as a baby. He was given demigod status and a magic fishhook by the gods who took pity on him. He went on to perform miracles to win back humanity's love and has a set of magical tattoos that recount his exploits in the song You're Welcome, pulling up the islands, slowing the sun, lifting the sky, and more that we've discussed in this video. Now, this version of Maui incorporates elements of the Maui from both Hawaiian mythology and Maori mythology and other Polynesian narratives, so he's a bit of an amalgam. A little controversy around a few things to do with that in the film, including various fancy dress outfits of his character that some people deemed a bit inappropriate, but it's interesting to see this brought to the big screen. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked this video, do throw a like and share it, subscribe for more, and comment in the comments with what you thought, enjoyed or didn't, as well as any skins you'd like to see covered next. For more in this series, Overwatch lore explanation, cultural references and analysis with a bit of fun as well, heroes, voice lines, interactions, maps, comics, animated shorts and more, do check out my Overwatch lore series and playlists linked here. Thanks to my supporters on Patreon who make these longer to produce videos possible. If you'd like to see how you can support this kind of content from just $1 or less than a chocolate bar a month, do check out my Patreon, linked here too. Until next time, I've been Hammeh, take it easy.